Hey everyone, I'm Wah. And I'm Chris. And welcome to Docu Sweeties. I'm a little late because if you guys were in my other live where I talked about 90 Day Fiancé, you would know that I went to the grocery store real quick and went and got some charcuterie items because I was feeling like I wanted to have a little snack tray whilst we gabbed about all that was going on. If you guys are watching this on replay, please check out the description box below so that you can see when it actually started. And as a reminder, I'm going to go put that information into my other live, 90 Day Fiancé. So we're going to take a little secu-wax, let people come into the room before we get the party started. Get your beverage. Do what you got to do. And meet me back. Hi, Joy. Just my 2 cents. Hello. You made it to this one. Hi, Renee. How are you? Well, I hope. Oh, what an interesting piece of cheese. What is this one? Hello, Kimberly. Hi, Connie. Hi, Jasmine. Welcome back. I'm going to do some snacking. Oh, I remember I told you I was going to get some Pinot Noir. I never have that. I usually do a cab or a Zinfandel. I love a Zinfandel when I do red. Oh my gosh, you finished it. How exciting. Yay, so happy for you. Let's go, Anaya. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're well. Congratulations, Brittany. Everybody give Brittany a round of applause for getting her PhD. Because, girl, it couldn't be me. It couldn't. I don't even, people are like, oh, you should get your master's. Absolutely not. Absolutely. I want to learn, but I don't want to have to write any papers or do any testing at the end of it. So, I mean, what was your PhD in? My friend recently wrote a book as a part of their PhD, or part of their dissertation turned into a book, is what I should say. And I'm so proud of him. Like, he's my kin. I'm like, oh, I have a friend who has a PhD. You know, I didn't help them at all with anything, but I have a friend who has a PhD. I'm going to take this off. People don't like to hear me chew. And that's fine. That's so funny. Is your name Rejan? I'm just asking. Can you phonetically spell it for me? I was just chewing, so I wanted to give didn't want to eat chew. I also thought the chat would be chatting, and you guys didn't. It's interesting. All right, we're at 40 people. Let's give it a few more people. Let's get started at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. We're at 6 minutes now. So funny. I mean, this charcuterie board is slapping. I did that. I did that. Can't wait to finish it once we're done. It's so interesting because I was looking it up and I thought charcuterie boards were French. Saw somewhere that it's not French. I'm do some more digging because I don't know if I believe that, but it's not. Oh, I didn't mean to chew. Sorry. All right, we're starting a little bit late because I was chewing. 45. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Love is Blind, Season 4, Episodes 9 through 12. Those episodes are called Romeo and Juliet Didn't Work, Thank You Next, You Are Overpriced, and Eternal Bliss. Now, let's be honest. Do you want me to talk about episodes 9, 10, and 11? Or do you just want me to talk about episode 12? Because isn't that what we all got to? All right, let's do some key things about episode 9. Romeo and Juliet Didn't Work. Now, this is the episode. Oh, I guess this is the good one. This is the good spicy one. Okay. So we have 10 days until the wedding. Something about Jackie and Marshall, girl, but aren't we past that? Aren't we past that? This is after the cocktail party for Chelsea's birthday where Josh made a fool of himself in front of Marshall. Oh, did we not talk about Jackie and Marshall? Did we not talk about Jackie and Marshall? Isn't it so interesting? Okay, first let's take a step back and let's just talk about the editing and the storytelling of this season. It has never been more messy. Never. Nothing is more messy than this. Except for season 1, when we had that one older blonde woman who was with the interesting faced Latino gentleman. And remember, she wanted Barnett and Amber was like, tut, tut, tut. Okay. So this is so messy because first you have the mean girls in the pod, Micah and Irina. Okay, you have them. Plot twist, drama. Then you've got both of those girls causing trouble within their relationships with other people. Kiki and Hee and Haha. They both get to Mexico, and then Irina is the standout villain. Stand up and stepped out. Okay, so much hate on the internet that she has had to release a video apologizing to those she hurted. Now, we've got another twist. Jackie, who no one knew, becomes the villain because she is upset that Marshall isn't more toxic masculinity. Marshall respects the fact that she doesn't feel like being touched and she's in a mood. And she doesn't like that because Jackie finds that to be less masculine. So the internet wraps their arms around Marshall. And let me tell you that Marshall does a very good job on TikTok and Twitter, hilariously defending himself. You guys need to check his TikTok. I should have taken video of it and posted it up here. But I mean, he did some really funny things where he responds to her talking about him not being masculine enough. And even in the show, he makes fun of himself because they get back from that cocktail party and he wants to talk. He wants to better understand where they're at. They went to the cocktail party separately. He doesn't get it. And she's like, oh, I don't want to talk right now. We can't talk right now. I'm like, it's too much. I can't talk right now. Now, personally, me, I don't like that. If I need to talk about whatever I'm fucking feeling and you can't talk about it because you don't feel like it, I'm out. But some would say that that is like, not adult of me. But no, I pick me. I pick me over you. I pick me every time. So she then they go to bed, I guess, together. And then I think the next thing is that they did make the decision together that they're going to go to the fittings, right? So she doesn't go to the fittings, guys. So all of the women are there together and they're all doing all their dresses together. Remember, they used to do it separately where they would just be with their girls picking out their dresses and all that stuff, right? Now they have a group one where each woman who's trying on a dress, her mother or loved one comes up to her and has like a whole moment with them while they're trying on these dresses. Now, whose dress is the best? Micah. I hate saying it, but it's the truth. Okay, Chelsea. I think what they just need to do is they need to start making dresses that are for women who have not. For the longest time before I did this 40-pound weight gain, I was a woman who had not. And the only person who tried on a dress that had was Bliss. And her dress, I didn't love. I did like the nude illusion, but I didn't love that like flowery fairy tale situation. Because the truth is that if some of those flowers had a little bit of color in it, I would have loved it. Like maybe the flowers that are on the ground, if it was like a beautiful blue, like a light blue, like a robin's egg blue, a yellow, and a pink, like a very spring look, I would have been here for it. Okay. Jackie doesn't show up, girl. She don't show up to the fitting, and you know what Brett does? You know what Tiffany does? Tiffany calls her husband Brett, and she's like, "Boo, guess what? Jackie ain't here. Is Marshall there?" And Brett's like, "Oh," and Kwame's like, "What?" And Brett's like, "Kwame, Tiffany just text messaged me and said that Jackie's not out of the fitting." And Kwame's like, "That's wild." And Brett goes up to Marshall while Marshall, meanwhile, is talking about how him and Jackie are perfect together. Brett is like, "Hey." Marshall's like, "What's up, man?" And Brett's like, "Tiffany just texted me and told me that Jackie's not at the fitting." And Marshall's like, "Thanks for telling me, bro." Now, I said, that's none of my business. If I were Brett, I wouldn't have said nothing. But Chris said that, in this world where they are in this intense like thing, they probably feel like each other are best friends and like they got to do it. They got to do it. They got to tell each other. So Marshall's pissed. He tells his boys that she ain't here, so I'm leaving. And Marshall's just like, we had a deal. We last we spoke, we were going to go through to the fittings. Like they were going to finish it. They were going to go through to the wedding and both say no or whatever it is they needed to do, but they were going to finish it. She fully embarrassed him. Now, here's the caveat. When that aired, because the whole drama was that instead of her going to the fitting, she was actually on a date with Josh. Now, I called editing BS because they show her, instead of being at the fitting, she's on a date with Josh, and she like tells Josh that Marshall doesn't know about this. He doesn't know that they're seeing each other. And then she talks a little shit about Marshall, you know what I'm saying? She sows the seeds of how Marshall is like a punk or something, like some real rude nonsense, some real toxic, some black toxic nonsense. Okay, she sprinkles on, and her and Josh are yeah, blah blah blah, right? And none of us are here with it. Then they get up, and Josh gives her a kiss, and this whole time the audience is like, "Dang, she's supposed to go to her wedding fitting, and she's over here kissing and macking on this fool." So then the next scene that we have between Marshall and Jackie is Marshall rolling up to the pad and them kind of having this energy. And she's like, now in a completely different hairstyle, in a completely different outfit. And that is why I called BS. Because listen, I don't know about other women, but someone who has as much and as thick a hair as Jacquelina is not going to have it be easy breezy beautiful cover girl free and like roaring lion's mane one moment, then go home and slick it back in a ponytail. Do you know how much work it took for her to get her hair back into that ponytail in that tight bun with them baby hairs? No, we don't do that. No. When you got that kind of hair, you don't do that. You don't do that. So I knew it was fraudulent. I knew it was at least not the same day as the day that he came to the pad to talk with her. So she goes on a Twitter campaign and she's talking about how the producer set that up, how she has receipts that her producer text messaged her and said, don't go to the fitting, and that the date with Josh was after the fitting. So then my thought is, if a producer tells you to not go to the fitting, why don't you text Marshall and say, hey, Mary Jo is telling me to not go to the fitting. Are you not going to the fitting? What's going on? Now, we're going to have a live tell-all tomorrow, and I'm here for it. Because I need these questions answered. And I hope that whoever is giving Vanessa and Nick Lachey them questions, they ask the right questions. They need to ask the question to Josh, who said, I want to know. Because Josh isn't the only one too. So I need to know what periodical, what memo was sent out to men in their 20s that told them to wear the drop earring with the cross like George Michael from the 90s. Who said that was back in style? Because Barnett had it too. And this little boy I worked with a year and a half ago had it in too. And I said, little boy, who told you to bring that back? I don't trust it. Listen, it might be cute on a fine man if it was gold, but that little cross dangly earring is not working for me, because maybe I grew up in a time where that was distinctly George Michael, who is distinctly into men. So it don't do it for me. It don't do it for me. Gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. And listen, you know I love the gays boots the house down, but I'm saying that like I'm not interested in that, is the same reason I'm not interested in like a twink. It's just not me. You know what I'm saying? It's not me. It's not me. Not who I'm attracted to. I stopped being attracted to gay men when I was in high school. That was the last time. It's all the theater stuff. All the gay boys that I've ever loved, I did theater with, and then I found out later they were gay. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, because you were so cool. And you didn't make me feel like you were going to attack me. You know what I'm saying? Still love the gays now. Not in a relationship with them. So that's all it was. It gives me George Michael vibes. And it's in style for the straights. It's just a different vibe. It's just a different vibe. Anyways, so I went off on a tangent. Who did I start talking about? Anyways, they don't have a wedding, Marshall and Jackie has turned into the villain. I mean, we have completely forgotten about Irina in 1 week. And Jackie is the full villain. And she hates her edit. And I said to myself, well, maybe you shouldn't have gone on a show talking about you're ready for marriage when you're not ready for marriage. Because she told Josh, I'm not ready for marriage. I can't give you that. I can't believe I just really want the younger generation to be smarter and better than my generation. And my generation says things like, you want a man to be aggressive with you when you're in a bad mood. You know, it lets me know that she's never had somebody who's really loved her. Because the person that loves you will wait for you to be okay before they try to fucking have sex with you or some shit. Also, that's a kink, girl. If you want a dom, just say that. If you want a dom, then just say that. So what else happens in that episode? I talked about all 17 episodes at one time. Okay, let's move on to Chelsea and Kwame. Okay, so Chelsea and Kwame are shopping in a very like black only boutique. And when I say black only, I mean like there's Kwame not only is the only black person in that shop, but all the clothing is, from what I saw, only black. And it is like a modern boutique. And Chelsea is in there living her life. Chelsea is shopping in the way that I love to shop. Is where you just go in and you're like, I'm going to buy everything that I want. I'm just going to buy everything that I want. Space Time Continuum says the editing is so good and messy, pure sorcery, but I'm here for it. The editing is such wizardry, I can't even make Kwame look attractive at times. It's pure bleh. So they're in this spot, and Kwame seemingly has an attitude, and we don't understand why. And Chelsea's bopping all around the place, and the salesperson is like, she needs to try on the biker shorts. She needs those biker shorts. And I'm like, well, do I need the biker shorts? Let me tell you, I love a good salesperson. If a person is giving me energy and telling me the things that I need, then I will purchase them. Because as a former sales associate, I only gave the folks the best of the things that they needed. I was an honest salesperson. I was like, listen, you need 3 pairs of shoes. You need a black dressy. You need a fun casual. And then you need a like pop of color high heel. And that's what you're going to walk out with, because that's what you need today. And if you don't want them all right now, here's my card. Come back and see me later. Wahima, Lino, sales associate. Colhan, 5th Avenue. So I love it. And I love the way he did that. So she was bopping around trying on things, and Kwame had an attitude, and she was like, what's wrong? And he's like, you know what's wrong. You woke up this morning and I asked you if everything was okay because I could feel the tension. And you said, don't I look okay? Do I not look like everything is okay? And she's just like, yeah. And he's like, so that shit, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that. I feel like you got to be, fair that something is going on, and now you're acting like nothing's wrong. And she's like, okay, Kwame. So that's the first time we ever seen her not be somebody that we fully were standing behind and looking at him like he's a jerk, right? And so we're like, oh, he's going to say no. Because she is being herself, like trying to force that man to eat chocolate covered strawberries when he been done had his fill. Okay. And she finally, at the end of it, acquiesces and says that she's sorry. So we're like, cool. The next scene I believe we have with them is them doing a fashion photo shoot that she's wanted to do since she was a little girl, where it starts off with your engagement photos and it ends up being a like sexy boudoir shoot. And I said, since you were a little girl, you little girl, how did you know this? I barely found out what a boudoir shoot was, like when my friend got married 10 years ago. And I'm like, I want those pictures without the man. I want them regardless. What if I just like had a big enough home where I could just like have boudoir photos in my walk-in closet? And my walk-in closet also has a chaise lounge in it. That's how big my walk-in closet is. My walk-in closet is it's almost a small room. There's a full chaise lounge in it. I want there to also be a vanity with a sink. I want my closet to also be a bathroom. I want it to be a boudoir. Okay, so anyways, so they do this really cute ass photo shoot. I'm gonna tell you right now, she looked hot. He looked great. It was a lot of like exposed brick and warehouse style panes of glass. And I was happy for them. And she was like, thank you for fulfilling my fantasy. And he was like, you're welcome. Then we have a scene where we realize that Chelsea, her family has a leg up in this world. Chelsea, while I know she's like a pediatric speech pathologist therapist or something like that, she works with children on their speeches. She works with children and speech. So she, in her own right, is her own boss bitch, and I'm here for that. But also, she went to her family's lake house, and I said, "Oh, I love that for you." Then we meet her mother. Her mother, who is exactly her with just black hair. It's like Chelsea with short black hair. It's like the goth version, older goth version of Chelsea. Okay. And so she meets the whole family, and they're all women, and they're all very excited to meet him, and they're all super nice, which I love. And he's just sitting there. He's like, "Yeah, it's just a room full of like a bunch of Chelseas." His laugh is very distinctive. He's like, very distinctive laugh. And he's like, "Yeah, it's just a room full of a bunch of Chelseas, lots of energy, lots of questions." I love the way she like stares up at him and looks him dead in his eyes and doesn't break eye contact. Irina would hate it, but I love it for her. And the mother's like, "Hey, let me pull you aside. Let me have a conversation with you real quick. So I really want to know, what do you think of Rocky? Because that's her baby." And he's like, "Oh, I love Rocky. Rocky's great. He's like top three dogs in my life." And he's like, what's actually funny is I keep hitting this, and I hate the noise that it makes. I hate the noise that you're hearing when I hit it. He's like, "Oh, hilarious, because I had a pet once." And she's like, "Oh, you did?" He's like, "Yeah, back in Ghana. There's a pet squirrel." And she's like, "Oh." I mean, I feel like this lady was just like, "Oh my God, you're a foreigner. When did you get to the country? When did you learn English?" I just like immediately she probably turned into like, "We love Ghana." And the Ghanaians, we love them too. Can't wait to get to Africa. Do you like the view? No, there's some there might be some squirrels in those trees over there. He's hilarious. He is a hilarious individual. A pet squirrel. No, I'm not saying it can't happen. But it was an interesting story to tell this lady. It was an interesting story to tell this lady. So, who said that? Kwame's laugh is, what did they put? Kwame's laugh is like Eddie Murphy's, but gentler. Oh, you're so right. It's so hilarious. Okay. So then what's their last scene? Their last scene, or at least the scene that sticks out in my mind, is probably this Rocky scene where she's washing the dog, which is an old scene. But he keeps talking about how he's having to compromise. And he keeps saying how he hates it that he doesn't have a place to go and like have a respite. Because he works from home, he legitimately could just move to Seattle. But like the truth is that he doesn't like Seattle. He doesn't have his friends there. She has everything at her disposal that works for her, but he hasn't created a life in Seattle yet. And so he's, lonely. He can't just drive 3 hours to his home in Portland and hang out in his bed for a little bit and then like drive back. And I felt him on that. I was like, wow, that is so true. Looks like you shouldn't have gone on a show fucking where people are mostly from Seattle. But maybe they did like a Pacific Northwest type thing, right? So he just applied for it, because what else was he going to do? How was he to know that the person and most of the people were going to be from Seattle? So what else happens with them? You Are Overpriced is the episode where he talks about how he doesn't like Seattle and how it's overpriced. But what are they doing? I think they have their bachelor party. So they have their bachelor party, and all the guys and their friends go to one spot, and there's like a burlesque dancer, and Zach hates it because he's like, "My mother was a stripper. I don't want anything to do with women taking off their clothes in front of me. I'm not into it." And I was like, what an interesting choice to have. Also, what an interesting choice to tell everybody your mother was a stripper. Like, that's my thing too. It was like that choice was weird to me. It's like, we didn't need to know that. Because there are plenty of people whose mothers are strippers. There's lots of strippers in this world, in this state, in this country, everywhere. And for you to like zone in on that, like that somehow, that I don't know. I mean, unless I choose to think of the positive side of these women who are out there hustling, making their money, feeding their children, and sustaining their lives. I don't think normally of the seedy underbelly of how some of these women might have addiction to either drug or alcohol. Some of these women are, stressed out because they're in this position where they have to do this job. And now every strip club is like that famous one from in Atlanta where the girls are just dripping in money because all the ballers go there and spend their money. Like it's not all the same experience, but it just feels like an interesting. I mean, he didn't even want to watch that like dinky burlesque lady. That lady doing burlesque, I was like, ma'am. Listen, there's a girl on Instagram who I watch her do burlesque and I'm like, bravo, bitch. Bra fucking vo. So the guys are there. I don't quite remember if anything exciting happens there besides Zach talking intensely about how him and Bliss really love owls. And then he mentions it in episode 12 about how him and Bliss think of themselves as owl if that's the animal they could be. I'm like, damn. I hope you dance. And owls are like the thing that works for them. So happy for them. Oh, but then you know what also happens is that Zach meets Bliss's dad. But let's finish talking about Kwame and Chelsea. So Kwame and Chelsea end up having the wedding, and they're the first couple that we see. She gets there. She's really cute. And her peoples get there. His people get there, and we see his sister step out in a hot ass orange, beautiful dress. Gives Chelsea a kente cloth, not cloth, but kente, I guess, pattern purse. And I'm like, give me that purse. She doesn't need it. I do. And I'm gonna save let's do the weddings all last. Okay. So let's get up to the bachelorette parties and then let's talk about the weddings last. Okay. So let's go back. Let's go to Zach and Bliss. So Zach and Bliss. Zach meets Bliss's peoples. First, he meets the sister, Anna Lee, then the other sister, Tatiana, and then the mother. Several questions went through my mind. Bliss, biracial, 1. 2, is her mother wearing a wig? If so, were there not other options? 3, Bliss's older sister. Is that the natural state of her hair, or is that the state of her hair sweated out? And if so, were there other options? Could it have been like an actual silk press? Did it have to be an in-between? Is this what her hair looks like after like having a straight relaxer for most of her life? And then the last sister. Does the last sister share a father with Bliss and her older sister? Because the last sister is very pale. And her hair as well. Is there a relaxer in it, or is that like a straight blowout? There was I had a lot of questions about that. Also, Zach, he didn't have a lot of questions. He had a lot to say. He ends up telling these 3 lovely women that he chose somebody else actually instead of Bliss. Now, I don't know if Bliss and him had a conversation about him to not say that. But if they did, he did not heed that advice. And he decided to run yappity yap his mouth. And Bliss is like, damn, you want to tell the whole story? And the mother's like, shh, let him tell the whole story. So, it was a telling situation. And he's like, Romeo and Juliet, they didn't work out because of the families. Those Capulets and those Montagues were fighting. And he's like, I didn't choose Bliss in the beginning because I thought that her family would judge me. Does that actually happen? I mean, with black people? I mean, I know it happens with like black people on black people, right? Like if I were to bring home a raggedy ass Negro, my family would have a lot to say about it. A lot. But not enough to where it would cause derision between me and my raggedy ass Negro, you know? So I was like, is this, and then also like, does it happen interracially? Like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, does it like, would a black, I- the man is a lawyer. It's not like he is like working two jobs, one as like a, I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want anybody to get offended, but like, it's not like the man is working two jobs trying to hustle for a living. The man is a lawyer. What does his background have to do with anything? I think anytime anybody takes themselves out of their impoverished or, whatever environment that they find themselves in, regardless of race, the moment you step out of that world, your kids aren't just going to like roll back into it unless you, I don't know, have them, I don't know, girl, I don't know, unless you get caught up with some raggedy Negro. I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. But it's not my thing. What does Space Time Continuum said? Zach's teeth are too long. Or his top lip is too short. This is going to get worse as he ages, and it will grate on Bliss over time. It already grates on me, and I don't have to kiss him. The mother is wearing the most unlaid wig of all time. Bliss's clan is multiracial. I can see at least 4 different races going on there. Bliss said she is black, Mexican, and Arab. Oh, the dad. I knew the dad was Middle Eastern. I knew he was. I'm not sure if her little sister's is different, but her different father, but her mom was with a Caucasian looking man at the wedding. I assume that's her stepfather. Oh, that's maybe where the sister came from. I'm going to tell you right now, I skipped through most of episode 12. I just like moved the little cursor over until I saw somebody in a white dress, like waiting to see somebody in a black outfit at the front. And that's when, and I fully skipped over Tiffany and Brett. Like I literally got to the point where she said yes and he said yes. And I said, okay, we all knew that was going to happen. Okay, great. So the fact that he had to divulge out that information because he was worried about somebody thinking about his pedigree, like this is not the 1800s. You are not an aristocrat from the like London aristocracy, girl. Like no one cares. At least I don't care. And if I can't imagine anybody, I love caring. Who cares? You've managed to figure your way out of it. Your children most likely aren't going to go back to that behavior unless somehow you've glorified your past life to them. So he sells all the business. The family's like, we still like you or whatever. And then it is time for her to meet his people. And let me tell you, he has got a niece named Emerald who they put in a very lush emerald little outfit. And I said, let me hold that baby. Let me hold that baby. Because if I were Bliss, I'd have been like, might I hold that baby? So yeah, they have a good moment with his peoples. His aunt is there, his sister is there, and this whole time it wasn't just him in the back seat, going through the drive-through not being able to eat. It was the sister too. She was there. So sister's super, loving and there for him. His sister even goes to his fitting, which I thought was so cute. So I mean, I was like, oh, their sister is at the fitting. The cutest thing ever. I already talked about Bliss's dress, so we don't have to talk about the fitting. But he gets to the fitting, and he's like, "I would like a periwinkle suit." And the man, the salesperson, he's like, "No." And it was the funniest moment. He's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking of getting periwinkle." He's like, "We'll see about that. Not on my watch." Okay, the branding of this business is going to go all over this, and I'm not going to have it represented. No, not going to do it. But they did give him a bow tie, which was a choice. I mean, Kwame had a bow tie too, and the bow tie had a little bit of like a kente cloth vibe to it. And I said, oh, look at Kwame being black. Look at Kwame being Ghanaian. Chelsea doesn't even call it Ghanaian. She says it's Guinean. She's like Guinean. And I was like, is it Ghana? Ghana. So they would be Ghanaian. It's really weird. So Zach has his fitting. He goes to the, whatever club, and he's acting weird because he doesn't want to deal with like the stripper or the burlesque dancer. And then we have a situation where he meets Bliss's father. And Bliss's father is an hole. At least he really showed his when they met. He didn't even try. Zach is like, yeah, so I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and the one thing that I'm working on right now in my own firm is that I want to, figure out legislation so we can stop the cops from doing like tickets for people because they lose their license and they do this, and he like is like, yeah, I guess I don't know. And I'm like, to me, I was just like, ew. My dad would at least be, if my dad didn't understand it or didn't care, he would be like, oh, okay. And he would say something intelligent because he's like an intelligent person who can like follow a sentence. And I just like was just sad for her in that moment. And I was sad that her father made her argue with her on TV. I mean, maybe he's never seen Love is Blind. Maybe he has no idea. But I mean, like, I just think like, would your dad not behave a certain way once the cameras are rolling? I just think mine would. I guess this is what it is. Maybe I'm an actor. He's like not, but I don't know. I can't even put like my phone video camera on my dad without him immediately being like, well, this is my garden. Like without him being very like, I am telling you about this thing because someone is recording me. Hello, everyone on Wahima's Facebook. It's not Facebook, Dad. I don't have a Facebook. What do you have? It's Instagram. So like, I don't know that life. I don't know. But at some point, Zach is trying to like talk about, what it is that he wants, how much he loves Bliss. And he has to just get up and go to the bathroom, which felt like a punk move to me. But like, maybe it was just, he felt like it was his time to get up to let Bliss have this conversation with this man before this man got any more belligerent. And let me tell you I have more questions. Here we go. So Bliss's stepmother is there. She looks to me like she might be Pacific Islander of some sort. And so then there's children. Okay, there's a son whose name is either Zeke or something because it starts with a Z, like Zach. Zach makes a joke about it. But then there is a tween who walks in with a pair of gold aviators. And those aviators are gold and also the lens as well. And she has on some kind of rabbit fur vest with a short sleeve t-shirt underneath. And her hair as well is straightened with a blow dryer, it would seem. She keeps those gold tinted sunglasses on the entire time. So much so that producers and the cameraman and the editor makes a full joke about it by doing a bit where like the camera is looking at the reflection off of her sunglasses. I hope that somebody made her a meme. Oh, I hope somebody makes her a meme because it was like a choice and the wrong one. And maybe her mom couldn't do anything to stop her. Because let me tell you what that mom didn't do. That mom sure didn't have not 1 ounce of control over Bliss's father. Because the mom started crying. Bliss and her father are going toe to toe, arguing, where the dad's like, this is a stupid idea. She's like, it's not a stupid idea. I'm a grown person. I'm 30. And he's like, yeah, I guess you are 30. So I can't say anything about this stupid ass idea that you're doing because you're 30. So I guess you're an adult, I guess. But this is dumb. You don't even know this person. You don't know this person from Adam. He could be a stranger. He could be a murderer. And I'm thinking to myself, what is the most safe way? He didn't say he could be a murderer. I made that up. But what is the safest way to date somebody than to meet them on a reality show where people do background checks on these folks. I mean, this isn't 90 Day Fiance where folks just like sign up and they do like a mild bit of nothing to look up anybody and just put them on the show. This is a situation where they are purposely putting two people together. You think they don't do some kind of background check on these folks? They have to. They can't just get somebody who has a full fucking record and put them in a booth with somebody who doesn't. Her dad was completely out of line for his statements. And he didn't even it's one thing to be frustrated with your child, but it's another thing to show your ass on TV, and he showed himself. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, Bliss can handle anything. If that's your dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, people don't take marriage serious these days, and divorce is a very big thing." And she's like, "Yeah, I know, I was there. I was there when you divorced my mom. And I don't ever think about wanting to get divorced. So yeah, I'm good. I'm definitely learning from your mistakes." It's like, how dare someone who's been divorced have a comment about somebody who's just whatever? I mean, like, it just doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not somebody who truly believes that, like, if you divorce somebody that you had a failed marriage. I don't believe in that at all. But I think that he is somebody who does. And so for him to have the feelings that he has about his daughter getting in a marriage in the way that she's getting in a marriage, it's like, it's so interesting to me how people judge that when you meet somebody any other way besides like randomly at a bar or at a club or at a grocery store. Like, if you meet somebody any other way, there's some kind of judgment. If your parents set you guys up as an arranged marriage, there's a judgment. If you meet somebody online, there's a judgment. Like, how do you know that person? How do you know the person you meet at the bar? You don't. So it's just like wild to me. Wild. So, anyways, she has a toe-to-toe and standoff with her father, and the next day it's like trending. So he probably doesn't care because he, is a brute. But I just felt bad for her in that moment. Now, Brett and Tiffany. Do we need to talk about Brett and Tiffany, girl? Brett's brother has great hair. And Brett's family feels like some kind of way about their financial situation or their social economic status or class. And the brother asks her about, her upbringing and if they were like well-to-do or something. And I did not think that was necessary. I didn't understand the purpose of it. And again, it's that thing where I am completely outside of this realm where folks are judging other people from where they came from. Brett has done well for himself. So what does it matter that he grew up in a home where they sometimes didn't have lighting? Like, it doesn't matter. That's not him. He buys $1,200 Tumi bags. Okay? He's living good. He's like, "Oh, if this space isn't big enough, we'll just move to another unit in the building." So, you're right, Saraya. He sure didn't say that to that man. "Oh yeah, I chose your daughter second." No. So, Brett's brother has great hair. Did I already say that? I mean, it's what I wish my hair was. It's what I wish my hair was. And his father didn't sound like some character from Love After Lockup. His father was like, "I can tell that you guys love each other and I bless this union." His father was very eloquent in the way he spoke. So I'm like, what do you mean? Y'all are fine by me. Y'all are fine by me. Any other couples? Oh, Micah and Paul. Oh my God, Micah and Paul. So for Micah and Paul, Micah shows Paul to her family. And she's like, "Hi, I'm engaged. Like, I know I haven't." She has like vocal fry. I can't do it. I know, like, you guys. I don't know what she's saying, but anyways, she's got a vocal fry, and she's telling her parents that she's marrying a man named Paul, and that here he is, and her dad's name is Paul as well, And her dad is kind of into it. Her mom's like, okay, I'm down for it. And she's like, Shelby and Michaela are going to be there. They're going to be my bridesmaids. And they're like, listen, people who know each other for a long time end up getting married and getting divorced. So, like, what does it matter? The amount of time you know somebody does not indicate how long the relationship is going to last. And I was like, that's really poignant to say because it's very true. So her dad agrees, and then the next scene is she wants to introduce Paul to her friends. And this is when we get our third villain of the season, and that is her friend Shelby, who it's her birthday. And Micah gets to the birthday party, and this black man just like jumps up and hugs Micah. And I'm like, Micah, you have black friends? And also, like, is this man your friend? Is so weird. So he gets in, he gets there, and Shelby's already been drinking because it's her birthday. It's my birthday. And she Shelby doesn't like Paul. They actually make fun of the fact that he's smart and that he's a scientist. And Shelby ends up telling Micah that, you know, he's not the guy for you. You should have a fabulous, amazing wedding because you're Micah. Because you're Micah. Micah deserves everything. And this isn't it. This is not it. And I'm just like, what kind of meathead did you want for her? Would you have been okay with Kwame? Who knows? So her and Kwame also have a moment where they talk at the Chelsea's birthday party about like how happy they are. And she's like, I think about you and I wonder if you're okay. Girl, worry about somebody else. Worry about yourself. So Shelby says some kind of rude things, and Paul is like, okay. And Micah's like, you don't care what she thinks. You don't care what she thinks about you. You should care what she thinks about you. You should care what she thinks about you. And he's like, I don't. And I think for the first time, Paul was like, your friends are people that I would never want to fucking socialize with. Where are my like smart granola girls who like aren't super girly, who barely wear any makeup and never shave their armpits? Like that's who I'm used to being with, and your friends are not worth my time because they're stupid. So he like goes upstairs and minds his own business. So Micah's friend was awful. Her name was Shelby. Shelby was awful, and she's going to show her ass again at the wedding. So she so after that they have this moment where they're like, I really want to marry you and I really, really like you, and they have this like blah 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 blah. And then she meets his mother and they're like the same person or whatever, like who cares. And then they have their wedding. So now we're at the weddings, everyone. Okay, so we think that Kwame is going into this and he's saying he doesn't know. His sister's like, don't have brought me all the way out here and not do the right thing. You know what to do. I put this dress on. You better get married. You came this far. So they get married. He says yes, she says yes. And for a while, we think he's not going to say yes. So it's a lot of editing shenanery that we're not aware of. And he's into it. And I'm happy for him. I think he made the right choice. Because Micah would have been a disaster. So then we go to Micah and Paul. Micah and Paul are there. Paul walks in very excited. Like he's like, I can't believe I'm getting married today. He talks to his boys about how he forged the ring, you know, in the fires of Mount Doom. Or not Mount Doom, Mordor. He forged the ring in the fires of Mordor. Please tell me if anybody gets that. Please leave a comment. Leave it down below or put it in the chat if you got that. And so then he, towards the end of his thing, he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And I don't know. I don't know. And we're like, what? We thought you were into this. So then it goes to her and she's like, I don't know what Paul's going to say. And she talks to her family. She's like, thank you so much for supporting me and loving me and like making it all the way out here. And he's like, the dad's like, well, you're our only child. And we're like, oh my God, she's an only child. She's an only child. And then she starts talking about how she's the child of divorce. Her parents got divorced. Who knew? And that how like her mom is like here, and she like makes a joke about her mom being dead. And we're like, wow. Did Micah go on this show so that she could like see if she could get married before something else happens to her mother? I found it interesting that he shared very specific reasons as to why he said no, but there was nothing in the edit. Yeah, yeah. So then I was like, oh my God, okay. So they get to the thing and she's like, I think I would do a better job of letting you go first, because she knew that there was a high probability that he was going to say no. And she didn't want to say yes and then have him say no. So she let him go first. And he said no to her. And she like runs down the aisle. I don't know. Did they tell them all to do that? Because the truth is like, why didn't he just go with her? Why didn't they go together? Like, why did you wait so long to go after her? It was like a whole like shocking moment. Everyone's so shocked. And then the friend Shelby's like, I'm so happy. This is exactly what I wanted. And we're like, wow, you're awful. So then he says in his like little aside that, he says, he's like, I don't know. I could just never see her as a mother. It's like her nurturing spirit or like whatever. He's like, there would be times where, I would be all in and it felt like she was pulling back. And he's just like, yeah, I love her, but like, I don't think that us getting married is the right thing. And I could absolutely see her not giving over and being as like open with him because she's scared. But when he said that I couldn't see her like nurturing and being a mother, I said, shot to the heart. Like, wow. Wow. Lori Lynn says Paul blew it. He was willing to have sex with Micah, go on vacation with her, and do the whole reality series to tell her he loves her and wimp out. Like, I mean, listen, marriage is like a binding contract. Like, I could see, I 100% understand him not wanting to marry her. Like, continue to date her and allow her to open up and be the person that he needs her to be so that he feels comfortable knowing that he's marrying somebody who loves him. But if she's hot and cold with him, or isn't as affectionate as he needs, like, it's absolutely correct. Are you guys upset with him? Agreed. He didn't think she would be a good mother. LOL. Sir, you can't tell someone repeatedly that you love them and then prepare for a wedding and then drop a bomb like this. Oh my God, you guys are upset with him for doing it. In an interview with the cast that was posted today by Netflix, Micah says she wanted him to answer first because she didn't want to say yes and have him feel obligated to say yes. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, makes sense. In this regard, Jackie comes out on top. Oh, you guys are mad at Paul? At the altar, if you notice that they were not holding hands. Oh, wow. No, I fully agree with Paul. Paul should have been with Amber. Y'all forget about Amber? Y'all forget about how him and Paul and her freaked out and made a pact with each other to go together? Like, remember Kwame telling, whatever her name was, Micah, like, you never told me how much you liked me. You never secured the bag with me. You never like made me feel like you were in it for me. He saw Micah's character. He saw how she was willing to have her friend disrespect him. Team Paul. That's what I'm saying. She's like, you don't care what my stupid friend says. Like, you should care about what she thinks about you. No, you don't marry that person. You don't marry that person. Yeah. Mona. Absolutely. Irina and Micah got exactly the right energy that they gave. Absolutely. Oh, hello, new person. How are you? Cute photo. I understand why Ball took the route, but it definitely was a bomb. I mean, it's supposed to be a bomb, right? Like, they have until that moment to choose. I think that when you have situations like Irina and Marshall and Jackie, those are the kind of, I mean, while they're juicy and messy, I really honestly feel like everyone should get to the altar and say no. I think that I don't think that they should drop out of it early. I think that they should get to the altar and say no. I think that's the like build up for it and the excitement. But I also think that you might want to tell your partner, like, hey, I'm going to say no. And I think that he made up his mind in the last like hour of it. He said, when I see her as a mother, I just was like, damn. It's the show, Laura Lynn. It's the show. Oh, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. That's the name of the show. Like, you make your choice at the altar. So I see what you're saying, but that's the name of the game. And I think that Marshall and Whatterface should have gone through it. Should have gone to the altar. Interesting point of view. All right, let's get to the other one. So obviously Tiffany and Brett say yes. And then we've got Bliss and Zach. Now, a lot of people didn't know what they were going to say. A lot of people were like, Bliss should say no because how dare he choose somebody else instead of her. But like, I honestly, to be honest, I honestly thought like he truly made a mistake and I would never let him live it down. But if the fact that they both see themselves as owls, that shit is oddly specific. All I want is a man who, I mean, ugh. I met somebody that I really enjoyed and that fit all of my little criterias that I just need for somebody to be a decent human being who isn't fucking homophobic, who thinks that trans people should be able to live their lives in whatever manner they do, you know, has their finances in order to where they can live a comfortable life and cares about my orgasm. That's all I want. And so for me to like, for you to find somebody who does that and you have to walk away from it, it absolutely sucks. But if you can't find the person to meet, or you don't think that person would be a good mother, you know, like, or if that person thinks they're the same animal as you and like obscurely an owl, that person you can have like conversation back and forth with, banter, that person who, you know, I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack, or, you know, I don't know, one of those ladies, that's your song. Like, listen, get with that person. Get with that person. Get with that person. I'm waiting for Kwame to leave his second choice and go get Micah, who really doesn't like him in real life. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm like very much like can't wait for it. It's a live event. I wish we could do like a talk about it together. How can I make this happen? If I went live at 7 p.m. my time and I had this on, but I had it on mute and just like gave you my reactions, would that work? I don't know. I like the nerd energy that both Zach and Bliss have. Bliss is attractive and people don't really acknowledge when pretty people are nerdy AF. Yeah, like, I love it. Yes, let's watch together. Like you said on Docu Sweeties. Thank you so much for listening. Micah could not bring Kwame home and get the same reception as Paul did. That's what I would think. That's what I think. You know. All right, you guys. That's it. Did I show you guys what I got from the antique show? I showed last folks what I got from the antique show. Oh yeah, Bliss and Paul said yes. Bliss and Paul said yes together. I mean, Bliss and Zach said yes together, and I was here for it. I'm happy for them. So we're gonna see. I mean, there's a lot of drama. We got to know what happened with Marshall and Jackie. We got to know about Irina's dumbass. We got to know what Paul and Micah, like maybe they're still seeing each other. She was like, I need to be by myself. And like when she runs off and he like runs after her and was like her mom's like, fuck him. Her mom was like, he doesn't matter. Move on. Next. Thank you. Next. You know. Bye. Thanks, Lori Lynn. Welcome. I've never seen you before, but thank you so much. live event is going to be next level cringe. I mean, maybe we should watch it together. Maybe I should go live and just like talk about it with you guys. We could do that. You can see my reaction. It'll be like, but I'll have to put it on mute so that nobody can hear. Yeah, they played that song too at the end. I was like, oh, so corny. They went and got the rights to that song so that they can play it. You know, because that's a song you have to get the rights to. That's hilarious. Okay. Oh, okay, Lori Lynn. Ooh, hello. Waylar J. Love it. I want to see Jackie's lukewarm tea. I want to see it too. I want to see if she'll go off. Go AWF off. All right, you guys. I am tired. I got to eat my charcuterie board and finish listening to my audiobook. But I will definitely talk to you later. Let's talk tomorrow. You know, we got a lot going on tomorrow. It's 90 Day Fiance tomorrow. Are you guys gonna watch the new season of Love in Paradise? It should be season 3. I love Love in Paradise. It's so good. Season 1 was like Daniel and Amber. Remember season 1? And like Martine and her Barbadian boo. And then like season 2 was like, I think Ellie and Victor. Or was that Toe? Who knows? Who knows? Season 2 was definitely like Carlos and that black man who put his bangs to here. But this season, you guys, it's like our 90 Day Fiance worlds are just colliding, okay? We've got Lydia and Nicole from 90 Day Fiance, 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, the family Chantel. Could you imagine a scenario in which you are just like a regular degular ass woman from Dominican Republic who happens to have like a profession? You know what I'm saying? You're not like Johan's people where like, you know, a lot of people living in one home, you know? It's like you have a profession, your daughter is able to be like Miss America, so you got a little money, you know, your son goes to the United States and your entire world opens up. They have been on at least 3 seasons of 90 Day Fiance. And if it wasn't for Chantel, none of this would be possible. Okay, so there's that. And then Carlos and the black man with the hair down to here, they're back, who, you know, consummate HR professional. I love him. And then like other people I don't know. But it's going to be good. And it's on Mondays. So am I going to be able to do that many shows? Oh my God, it's going to be so many shows. It's going to be Love After Lockup, 90 Day Paradise, 90 Day Toe, and Seeking Brother Husband, plus DocuSweeties. It's too much. It's too much. But I'm here for it. I'm here for you guys. So let's do it. Harvesting the American dollar. Yes. All right, you guys. I'm going to go. I'm going to eat this delicious charcuterie board that's just been chilling here on my plate. Y'all have a fantastic day. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Shake, 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 Senora.